The Battle of the Somme, one of the largest battles of World War I, took place between July 1st and November 18, 1916. It was fought by the armies of the British and French empires against the German Empire and is remembered as one of the bloodiest battles in human history. The battle was named after the Somme River in France, where it occurred. It was intended to achieve several objectives, including relieving pressure on the French forces at Verdun, weakening the German army, and achieving a breakthrough that would allow the Allied forces to advance. The Battle of the Somme was conceived as a joint Franco-British operation, with the original plan involving a significant French contribution. However, the German attack on Verdun in February 1916 altered these plans, as the French army was heavily engaged in defending Verdun, reducing the number of French troops available for the Somme offensive. As a result, the British army assumed a larger role in the battle, with General Sir Douglas Haig, the British commander-in-chief, leading the offensive. The plan for the Battle of the Somme involved a week-long artillery bombardment of the German lines, intended to destroy German defenses and barbed wire, as well as to kill or incapacitate the German troops stationed in the trenches. The bombardment began on June 24, 1916, and lasted until July 1st, with over 1.5 million shells fired. However, the bombardment failed to achieve its objectives fully. Many of the German defenses were deeply entrenched and fortified, and the barbed wire was not adequately cut. Moreover, the Germans were warned of the impending attack and were able to take cover in their well-constructed dugouts. On July 1st, 1916, the first day of the battle, British and French infantry began their advance across no man's land towards the German lines. The first day of the Battle of the Somme was the bloodiest in British military history, with nearly 60,000 British casualties, including over 19,000 soldiers killed. The French forces, attacking to the south, were more successful, as their artillery had been more effective in destroying German defenses. The high casualty rate was due in part to the failure of the artillery bombardment, but also to the tactics used by the British Army, which involved soldiers walking in lines across open ground, making them easy targets for German machine guns and artillery. Despite the heavy losses on the first day, the battle continued for several months, characterized by attrition and trench warfare. The Allies made small gains, capturing a few miles of territory, but the cost in human lives was enormous. The battle saw the first use of the tank in warfare, introduced by the British in September 1916, although their impact was limited due to mechanical failures in the difficult terrain. Throughout the battle, both sides suffered heavy casualties, with estimates of over 1 million men wounded or killed by its end. The Battle of the Somme also highlighted the horrors of modern warfare, with the widespread use of artillery, machine guns, and gas warfare. The battle finally ended in November 1916, with the onset of winter making further operations impossible. By the end of the battle, the Allies had advanced only about 6 miles into German-held territory. The high casualties and limited territorial gains led to criticism of the British military leadership, particularly General Haig, who was accused of being indifferent to the loss of life and overly committed to outdated military tactics. Despite this, the Battle of the Somme did have some strategic impacts. It relieved pressure on the French at Verdun, forced the Germans to divert resources to the Somme front, and weakened the German army, which suffered significant casualties. In retrospect, the Battle of the Somme is often seen as a symbol of the futility and slaughter of World War I. The battle's extensive casualties and the brutal conditions faced by soldiers on both sides underscore the human cost of war. The battle also marked a turning point in military tactics, as it demonstrated the need for new strategies and technologies in modern warfare, including the use of tanks and more effective coordination between artillery and infantry. The Battle of the Somme left a lasting legacy on those who fought and the nations involved. For the British Army, it was a harsh introduction to the realities of large-scale, industrialized warfare. It also marked a shift in British military strategy, with lessons learned about the importance of artillery coordination, the need for improved tactics, and the potential of mechanized warfare. For Germany, the battle was a warning sign of the growing strength and determination of the Allied forces, foreshadowing the intense and protracted nature of the conflict that lay ahead. Commemorations of the Battle of the Somme continue to this day, with memorials and ceremonies held to honor the soldiers who fought and died. The battlefields, now tranquil, serve as a poignant reminder of the devastation and sacrifice endured during those months in 1916. The Somme has become synonymous with the suffering and endurance of the soldiers who participated in the Great War, representing a key moment in the collective memory of World War I. As such, the Battle of the Somme remains an enduring subject of study and reflection for historians, military strategists, and those interested in understanding the complexities and tragedies of warfare. Why?